Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce the moderator and speaker for today's event. Our moderator for today is Technologist Dr. 𝐆𝐌𝐈 Muhammad Hashim, Technical Training Officer from the Electrical Engineering Department of GMI. Our guest speaker, none other than Dr. James J. Govindasamy, an esteemed GMI alumnus and the General Manager at Alcon Johor. Dr. James holds a GMI diploma from the Shamlin campus, a Bachelor of Engineering with honours in Mechatronics from London, and a PhD in Controls Engineering from Belfast. Now, without further ado, I would like to hand over the session to our moderator, Technologist Dr. 𝐆𝐌𝐈, who will guide us through today's talk session. Please join me in welcoming them.
Thank you very much. Terima kasih kepada Miss MC. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi semua. Welcome to the very first bicara yang dibawa oleh GMI, hasil buah fikiran our Honorable Puan Haji Ahmad Solihin. This is idea from him to produce the GMI inspirational and innovative talk untuk diberikan kepada kita sebagai satu platform untuk kita semua dapat berkonsep daripada luar. Suka untuk saya bagi tahu ya, the idea of this event, Dr. James, adalah untuk to inspire and motivate the students, the staff, the members of GMI tentang apa yang ada di luar sana, apa yang ada di dalam sini itu dibawa keluar, dan untuk kita nurture kita punya leadership. Tak kira leadership ketika belajar, ketika bekerja, ataupun ketika aktiviti sosial di dalam GMI. Dalam masa yang sama, kita nak ambil peluang ni untuk enhance GMI punya reputation. Kita dalam proses untuk menjadi UCAS, kita punya master plan 2035 to 2035. So this is a part of it. Okay, so thank you so much to our Honorable CEO. Give a clap for him. Actually kita dah lama tunggu event macam ni ya. Maybe along the way, saya pun dengar kita akan ada podcast later. Maybe you will be there also, Dr. James. Okay.
Willing.
Dr. James is here not simply kita jemput sahaja. There's something behind him. That why he became the very first guest on this GMI Q&T. Okay. Untuk pengetahuan, Dr. James ni ada sentimental value to us and to himself also. Kita akan kupas sikit-sikit lah. Alright, before we start, Dr. James, I love to do this during my session lah. I don't know other people's. Okay, just a quick question.
Sure.
What is your latest activity, like reading materials yang you baca lately lah? Paling baru, apa buku ke magazine yang Dr. James ada baca?
Now it's how to be super productive.
How to be super productive.
So it's like give you 10 ways how to become more productive than you are today. So it's a compelling book. I haven't finished it. I just started that.
So did you remember the author?
The author Li Jiang.
He's a Chinese author.
He's American Chinese.
I see. Alright. For my latest reading, saya ni suka membaca, suka beli buku. Tapi lebih suka beli buku dari membaca. Okay, saya bagi tahu before ni memang saya macam tu. Kalau pergi Big Bad Wolf, kita akan bawa trolley bag untuk beli semua buku-buku tu. So the latest reading is Alexandria, in which the extraordinary correspondent to Griffin and Sabine Anto. Buku ni berkisah pasal Sabine dan Griffin. Dia ada 4 trikologi. So saya baca yang keempat, sebab itu buku saya jumpa kat Big Bad Wolf. So it's about long connection, what we call relationship. Tapi uniknya buku ini, dia bukan buku yang biasa, page by page, tak. Dia menceritakan kisah percintaan dan perhubungan Sabine and Griffin ni. You don't have to know siapa Sabine and Griffin lah. Okay, cuma dia tulis surat. Zaman-zaman dulu punya buku, contohnya. Tapi every page of the books ada envelope, ada surat. So as a reader, saya kena buka envelope, saya kena baca surat tu. So dia akan tukar every page. Buku tu tak tebal, dia dalam 30 pages sahaja. Tapi cara penceritaan buku tu yang unik. So kalau pergi Big Bad, kita boleh jumpa banyak-banyak buku yang unik lah. Okay.
No, just want to add to that. I mean, there's one thing that philosophy for leaders is leaders read.
Leaders read.
Read.
Okay.
Leaders read. They have to.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Oh. Complimented. Okay. Let's move, Mr. James. Dr. James, sorry. So Dr. James, untuk pengetahuan semua, adalah alumni kepada 𝐺MI. Okay, 𝐺MI was open officially in 1992. Untuk pengetahuan pelajar-pelajar yang mana sekarang,
don't tell them that they don't know my age.
in 1992, 𝐺MI ni dia adalah buah fikiran the late Datuk Faisal. I read one book. Datuk Faisal jumpa Tun Mahathir. He said to Tun, in that book, he said to Tun, I have an idea. I want to bring a G2G education level. The book tu ada kat library, boleh cari ya. Satu buku je ada. So dia kata kepada Tun, I want to make G2G education. Tun kata, where? German. Why? German adalah punya forte dalam teknologi. So Tun kata, without any initiative during that time, the late Datuk Faisal sendiri pergi ke Jerman, dia ada team dia, and then approach German government here and there. In 1991, established 1992 first enrollment. So Dr. James is the first student, the first batch yang masuk 𝐺MI. And again, he is here again in 𝐺MI. And in January, Dr. James was a part of 𝐺MI ISC Council. Memberi balik kepada kita. It's very honorable to have him. Okay, Dr. James. We start with your. Kita bagi sikit dulu. Your personal life. Please,
Okay, sure.
Dr. James. Any point on your personal life that you want to introduce as introduction?
Look, do you have the slides?
Yeah. We can show some slide on the Dr. James personal experience and life.
So my name is James Govindasamy. I'm actually from Kedah, from Sungai Petani, Kedah. Anyone here from Kedah? Okay. Shout out to my fellow statemen. So from a place called Taman Sri Tanjung. Those days was the Rumah Murah, program Rumah Murah di Sungai Laya, kampung Sungai Laya. Anybody from Sungai Laya, from those who coming from Kedah? Oh, there's one in the back. Okay. Kawan sekampung. So I started there, went to Sungai Laya, Sekolah Rendah Kebangsaan Sungai Laya. Started there, went on to Ibrahim School. So those who are from Sungai Petani will know Ibrahim School. It's quite famous in that part. And then after SPM, joined 𝐺MI. There's a story behind that, so I'm not sure whether Dr. Hafiz will ask those questions, but there's an interesting story how I ended up here. Maybe if you want me to start with that story. So when I was in Form 4, my classmate beside me, both parents of my classmate, 𝐵𝐿𝐻𝐿, were teachers in a local school. So they found out that they're going to open a German college in Malaysia. So he asked me, why not we both of us write to the embassy, to the German embassy, and inquire, and to say our intent of interest to join a German college. Both of us, we love engineering, we love making stuff, because we're at that age. So he said, okay, why not? There's nothing wrong. Just write a letter to the embassy. We didn't even have any expectation kan. Pasal budak-budak hantar surat, who wants to layan kan. So then when we send, we didn't get anything back obviously. Right? Then after SPM, somehow or other, got a letter in the mailbox saying that, oh, we have the Bavarian state government and MARA has joined, had a cooperation and wanted to have a German college called 𝐺MI, German-Malaysian Institute, in KL, in Shamil Casa. It's okay. But when I read through the letter, then it came to about the financial piece. 20,000 Malaysian ringgit in 1992. So from a kampung, right, you saw 20,000 and said, oh my goodness, how are we going to afford that? But then you read through some more, it says 75% will be borne by the government. So the students have to only furnish 5,000. So at that time, coincidentally, my dad had a fall and fractured his ankle. So he was kind of bedridden. We placed him in the hall, and friends were visiting. So when one couple of friends that came in, close friends of his, saw him there and looked a bit, he was in pain, but he also was sad because he couldn't afford to pay my fees, to give me the opportunity to come to 𝐺MI. Because in those days, until today, I guess, right? You always equate engineering excellence to German technology. So it's a big thing kan. Kalau orang dari kampung kata, wah bangga kan anak dapat tawaran nak masuk 𝐺MI kan. So it's okay. it's okay that, then he said, it's okay, if it's God's will, come on, rather we will make it. But so coincidentally that day, the two person that came heard about this story, and they were willing to sponsor me. So they will pay the 5,000 as a loan. They say as a loan. So wow, this is God's blessing. So I took it on, and that's how I started my journey with GMI.
I see.
So it's God's, coincidence and God's blessing all together.
Yeah.
So that's how I started.
It's blend together.
And when we started here, when I saw this building, I was telling Tuan Haji how proud I am. Because when we started at Taman Syamli Bikasa, it's a small factory, SME building, 5 floors. And when we were starting our classes, people are still pasang langsir. Lecture kan, dengan lecture ada orang pasang langsir. That's how it was, when we started off. 60 of us. Industrial electronics, production technology. You all know the nickname for the production technology? Tahu tak? Tahu. Bau minyak. Orang PT. Untuk student, dulu sebelum kita ada MED, Mechanical Engineering Department, 𝐵𝐈 for the mechanical section was known as PT, Production Technology. So, as Dr. James punya experience, for PT punya student, dia di call as orang minyak. Kalau di oil and gas, kita akan panggil sebagai grease monkey lah. Grease monkey. But the thing backfired because mechatronic kena jual pakai PT. Kena buat mesin ni.
Kena buat BMW semua. Masih lagi. BMW, Batch Metal Works. Okay, they already have BMW when they are with GMI. Dia dah ada dah BMW sebelum dia keluar. Okay, Dr. James. Kita selang-seli lah dengan your personal and the professional works. And the information to the students.
Sure.
Okay, let me quote a statement from the World Economic Forum, WEF. In January 2020, the demand for more high-skilled workers continues to grow. Recently, analysis of US data by the Wall Street Journal found that 40% of manufacturing workers now have a college degree. By 2022, manufacturers are projected to employ more college graduates than workers with high school education or less. Technology-enhanced learning, TEL, can help us keep up demand and offer pathway for existing workplace to gain a new skill. Dr. James, these students is considered the IPT, pelajar pengajian tinggi. So the World Economic Forum say that these students is the one going to fill the market, the work demand, starting from 2022 onwards. Some of the projection are up to 2030. So can you let them know how blessed they are, how their knowledge here can be fulfilled in the industry, especially in the MED and EED punya bidang. I believe you have wide experience on this. Please, Dr. James.
So when I graduated from GMI, just to give a bit of a basis of my story. So when I graduated from GMI, I haven't graduated yet. We had our placement in industry. So like myself, was sponsored by Bosch from my second year onwards. So I was placed in Bosch, and there were students coming from that time. No disrespect for any University Malaya graduates. I have to say that first as a disclaimer. So that time there was 2 interns from UM, and myself and another colleague were from GMI. So that time our supervisor for our internship said, okay, you work on this project, you design the circuit, and then you're going to build the circuit, you test it on the line. And then these 2 students came into the office during lunchtime. Biasakan student life, you don't care, lunch ke makan ke, kita buat kerja.
Tak kisah dah.
Tak buat kerja ni. So they came in, he said, James, we need help. I said, what's wrong? He said, we're not really sure how to use this. You know what they were showing me? Multimeter. I put together, that's the most basic that we learn in GMI, but we're not sure.
That was after GMI? During implant?
During training.
Okay.
Industrial training, internship. So it was a bit of a shock. But beside that story, when I started to graduate and go into the workforce, what I found was those who acquire skills, especially in the settings like in GMI, skills sets you up for life. Because whatever you learn today with your hands, because when you start using your mind and then you have the interest, the passion for engineering or technical work, and you start applying it with your hands, it stays with you forever. Even today, I can tell you, last week or so, I started doing the wiring for my niece's house. Because that's the skill set that you have and you don't want to give up, so you continue to do it. So to you answer the question is, if you remain having that skills, you have to hone the skill, continue to use that skills, it's guaranteed, I would say, God willing, touch wood, it's guaranteed. Because a skill acquired is very much more demand compared to a paper qualification, just a paper qualification. So this is what GMI offers to the students that you have today. You are super privileged, because I can tell you from experience, what I have learned from GMI stays with me until today. Because you are so confident with your hands, and now you know the theory that applies behind the application. So that gives you, very powerful is applying knowledge to a practical challenge. So to answer the question is, the future, if you continue and put your work in, work hard, study hard, listen to the TTOs, do your work, complete your assignments and projects, you'll be highly in demand in come 2030 or beyond, because that stays with you. Dia kekal dengan kamu. Because that skill is highly in demand going into the future.
Back then in the 90s, how was the environment on the lab? How the equipment was? Is it, you have visited our labs previously, right? So compared to back then and now,
I would say, believe it or not, when I went for the tour, when I saw the Lucas Mule LN there, that was the stuff that we had as well. So a lot more physical wiring with the wiring jacks. Okay, nowadays you have IoTs, you have more of the virtual setup and all that. But all the basic fundamental stuff are still identical to ones in the 90s. I remember Mr. Chong. You all remember Mr. Chong, TTO, electrical machines?
Yes.
His famous phrase is, "You should know what." You ask him,
Chong or Chiong?
Chiong, Dr. Chiong. Mr. Chiong.
Chiong.
He was an elderly guy, grey hair. So every time you go to him and ask a question, "You should know what." So then but he had intention why he says that, because he wants you to make sure that you take the effort to learn before you come to answer it. But back to the question, the equipment, the lab setup is pretty much identical to when I was studying here, or studying in Shamim Kansa. The setup, with the DIN rails and everything else, is the same. Like I said, advancement of technology, obviously, in some modules shows that, with IoT, a lot more control, PC-based control. Those days, 90s was just the infancy of those. Yeah.
I see. Untuk pengetahuan para pelajar, JMI dulu berada di Syamalian Perkasa, di Kampung Pandan or Pandan Perdana something.
No, just Melawati and...
Yeah, in between that, right? So now, that building masih ada, cuma sekarang ada new owner for that building. So kalau nak pergi jalan tengok, mungkin JMI boleh buat tour lah saya rasa. Kalau buat kawasan lama dulu. Okay, it's a very small place, very concise. So orang situ dia selalu berjumpa sama mereka. So the bond ada sikit lah. Makan pun dekat tepi-tepi tu, you remember?
Yeah, all the
at the stalls beside there. Okay. Dr. Jen, back to your personal. You mentioned that you work with Bosch, Ansell, Cetera and Seagate. That was after you finish your first degree or after finish GMI?
So after finish GMI, because it was sponsored by Bosch, so I had to stay with Bosch, obviously, to serve the bond. So I worked as an engineering assistant there. But then when I was still hungry for knowledge and wanted to better myself, so I requested for a sabbatical for a 2-year unpaid leave.
So you with Bosch for how long?
Bosch, to be honest, when they start sponsoring us, it's basically you're working for Bosch already, because every semester break or something, you have to go back to the factory and do your training, internships and whatnot.
I see.
So since, I would say since 93 to 97.
So along the way, you be in Bosch?
Yeah, you have to get back
during
there.
the semester break?
Semester break, you have to be there.
So what are the tasks given during that time as a student?
As a project, so the supervisor will deem, say a project that can be completed within a week or two. Like for example, he has the circuit diagram done, you have just to build the circuit.
So the Bosch believe in GMI candidates?
Yeah. But to be honest, we have to prove ourselves obviously. We can't just, they won't just give it to you. Like I said, the UM students, they probably give a different assignment. But for the GMI students, 3 of us, one from PT, Bas, so he had to do more like CNC machining, or go work with the vendor because they didn't have a machine shop at that time. So you had to go and do the design in CAD and then work with the vendor to do the fabrication. Myself and Alex Cheong did more about circuit designs because the unit that we were assigned to was test equipment. We do the testing for the side mirrors of the car. Side mirror of the car. So they want to check the reliability of the motor, so we have to do the in-circuit testers. So those days we have to build those circuits. You know, it's not something that you buy off the shelf.
It's a bless, dapat peluang belajar teknikal, dapat pergi pos bekerja pula. It's aligned with the
philosophy
itself.
Yeah.
So you gain experience on the academics and on the real working experience.
Right. So whatever you learn, you apply. Whatever you learn, you apply.
Ditambah pula dengan lab yang memang bersifat industri.
Right.
Oh, banyak ada punya.
So it's different. Like I said, I've been in academia. You know, plus after that, after my PhD, I was in academia in the UK. I was teaching as well. It's different. You cannot compare what you guys are experiencing and learning in GMI. It's totally unique to GMI.
Okay. Come back to your current appointment. Dr. James adalah General Manager kepada Alcon. Alcon is a company that dealing with the eyes dengan mata kita. Alcon di Pasir Gudang sana. Siapa orang Johor, Dr. James ada. Kalau lapar ke, bolehlah student implant. Okay, so Alcon in Malaysia is running by CIBA Vision. Is it true?
Okay, the story, there's a bit of a story.
Okay.
If you don't mind. So, the company was established in 2005 as CIBA Vision. We are part of Novartis. So now, Novartis is a pharmaceutical giant, third largest in the world. So in 2011, Novartis acquired Alcon. So Alcon did everything eye care. It's the #1 eye care company in the world. They do everything. So if anyone had LASIK surgery before?
Ada dah LASIK ke sekarang?
Ada. Okay, malu nak beritahu tak?
Okay lah, tak ada.
Any family members yang ada cataract? Because everybody here is very young, so ada. So cataract surgery, if you go to the cataract surgery suite, surgical suite, most likely 90% of the time you find an Alcon product because we manufacture those LASIK suites, LASIK suites, cataract suites, red suites, you know, all anything to do with ophthalmology, Alcon does it. Right? So 2011, but the only thing that Alcon didn't have during 2011 was contact lens manufacturing.
Contact lens.
So since
dengan moisturizer sekali semua.
So CIBA Vision at the time only does contact lens.
Okay.
So we got assumed into Alcon. That's how the name. So we product brand Alcon.
Because it's carry both Alcon, bracket CIBA Vision.
So the legal entity is CIBA Vision.
I see. Alright.
Yang tu yang basically.
Okay. From the webpage, greatplacetowork.com.sg by Singapore. Alcon scored 89%, the best place to work, which is a A marks. So I believe how Alcon looks onto the fresh graduate from GMI to be a part of that. What is what we call the requirement that these graduates fulfill or may not fulfill or can fill in the Alcon?
So, a bit of a background about contact lens manufacturing. Anybody here has seen a contact lens manufacturing process before? No, I'm guessing that's a good answer. Thank God. No, let me all my secret is out.
Is it compliments to the student?
No, because it's intellectual property. Thank God nobody knows. So anyway, the contact lens manufacturing is very, very unique to the chemistry. Right? So every manufacturer has a different chemistry. But this chemistry has a different interaction with the automation or the process that handles the product. Bila ada dia macam the silicone hydrogel, if it's untreated, uncoated, it's very sticky, very tacky. So the automation that handles that product has also to address those issues, those challenges. So that no contact lens manufacturer is identical. That means all equipment is custom. You cannot buy stuff off the shelf. So you have to design, develop, build fully customized automated systems. Right? So that's where I would say, to answer Dr. Hafiz's question is, how GMI students can fit into that kind of environment. Like I said, I came from GMI, and the reason also, I would say, part of my journey in my career in CIBA Vision or / Alcon is because of my expertise in automation. Because students in GMI, we have to visualize something that doesn't exist, how to address technical challenges, right? How to handle a product, how to present a product to the process. And this is where, you know, those expertise that you learn, the knowledge that you learn, and the training that you go through in GMI is very invaluable because it sets you up for those kind of challenges. Really, ideally, I would hire all GMI students. Tapi you orang tak mau datang.
They will.
Okay.
Based on the IEC punya kita punya outcome from the IEC, the last January, I think they will.
Hantar satu bus.
So student, you already have your appointment after you graduate. Okay, Dr. James. To the title for this event, from jacket to blazer. Kita mula tadi dengan the blue jacket part. You can tell them later. How that jacket become blazer? This.
Okay. So you all know the story about the jacket kat GMI dulu, tak tahu. But I think because none of you probably have the experience. When we started off in GMI, all of us kena pakai baju warna biru. You know, the shirt, short sleeve, baju biru ada dia kat GMI kat sini. So that time kat Syamil Kasa, we had the YPM students, yang JPA scholars, so the preparatory pre-university students. So they all go to classes, and Cik Farah will remember this. All segak pakai shirt, slacks. Kita semua pakai jeans dengan baju biru. Kata budak-budak kilang dulu. So it's okay, budak-budak kilang kan, so it doesn't matter.
Budak-budak kilang now.
So that was the impression at the time, but we didn't care because the philosophy of that time was, and they actually explained to us why blue, because the whole philosophy is that they wanted to. Hassan Faizal was talking about how to bridge the gap of having highly skilled workers, that between the tertiary students and those free school leavers, how to fill that gap. And this is the blue collar workers untuk perkilangan for the industry. So this was the philosophy. So they tell you straight up front, as you graduate, the expectation is that you go straight to the workforce, to work in manufacturing, and that's the reason why that blue collared shirt that you're wearing. So the philosophy is trying to be infused and calculated since then. So it's okay, but when we went through, graduated and so on and so forth, like I said, my pursuit of higher education was not because of the paper. Because my philosophy is always to be better than yesterday. Right? So how do you better yourself from yesterday? How do you improve yourself? And that was the hunger. So when I found out that, okay, if you want to do this kind of roles of work, like designing, it's good that you have knowledge of the theory part, like thermodynamics and so on, before you can actually do a design, a proper design. You have to put in all the failure analysis and everything else. So I said, okay, so how do I do that? He said, okay, for you to do that, you have to go and get a degree, because that's where they teach you there. And that's how I ended up, okay, let me sign up for a degree. And that time, because of being the pioneer batch, that the diploma is still not recognized because it's in the process of application. Yes. So to dapat scholarship,
dia perlukan cohort dia untuk dapat MKA.
To dapat scholarship punya susah, proses semua tak recognized. But God willing, my father was an askar watania, so we got a bit of a beasiswa from there, here and there. So I dapat peluang pergi Middlesex University because they managed to give a credit transfer based on our studies in GMI. So I went straight to second year, and that's how I got my degree after that. And then when I came back, actually at that time dah dapat offer buat PhD kat sana, because when I was doing my degree, my project was how to control a long reach robot arm to clean nuclear reactors. Because with the long reach robot arm, when you teach the point, pasal dia dah panjang, dia melengkung, so dia punya position dia dah lari kan. So how do you bring it back to the position? So we had to design a laser right through the arm, hollow part of the arm, to a collimator, and then we adjust the delta. So that was my research. So my lecturer was so impressed with the work that I did, they offered a PhD in rehabilitation robotics. Because at that time there was a Palestinian researcher who was building endoskeleton robots for people who lost their limbs during the war. Yeah. So he thought, okay, maybe I can join that research, continue that research. So I was doing what graces were, and you need to be sponsored. And that time, for those kind of works, very difficult to get sponsorship from the industry because it's not sexy, right? Because you're trying, it's more like rehabilitation, more like humanitarian.
Betul, healthcare.
So didn't get much funding that time. So I came back 4 years to support my brothers to finish their degree, their studies. And then I started to pursue my PhD. So I was trying, I wrote to many universities around the world. And lo and behold, Queen's University of Belfast, they had a program. They wanted a candidate that had an industrial background in manufacturing to help Seagate. Seagate is the hard disk manufacturer.
Kelana Jaya, right? Kelana Jaya that time?
The factory is Ireland, Northern Ireland.
Oh, Northern Ireland. That was in Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. There's 2 plants in Northern Ireland. Seagate had them. One does the read-write gate. It's a wafer fab. The other one does the substrate. So the one that sponsored me was a substrate, because they wanted an industrial background candidate that can help implement the research on the floor. So they sponsored the studies. So I came up with a method how to control the thickness of the disc after it's been ground to a certain specification, very tight specification. So that's how I ended up doing my PhD. Again, the pursuit of trying to better yourself continuously, and that's how I ended up getting that, and then returning back to Malaysia after 8 years working with Seagate in Ireland. Came back to Malaysia due to family reasons. CIBA Vision gave me the opportunity, again a regional position, to automate the processes, because a lot of the Asian operation is manual. So they wanted to automate that, so they asked me to lead that effort.
That was in 90s?
That was in 2000.
Early 2000?
2008. Yes. 2008. So that's how I started off, and then gradually increased in responsibility. So I started off as a sole contributor designing automation systems for various processes, and then they gave me a team of three people, because we need vision system, we need certain material scientists to be, in terms of interaction with the material, how to do the coating of those materials. So it grew. The company saw potential in me. They gave me, the head of engineering role. I did that for 5 years, and then they said, James, you're too technical. You need to manage more people. So they need me to have more business acumen. They say, okay, now you have to do manufacturing.
This is where you turn from the jacket to the blazer.
That's when the transition, I prefer to talk to machines, because machines have only 2 states.
Yeah, my first one asked me, Hafiz, we will look onto you whether you are good with people or good with machine during my experience in industry. Yeah, so there's a line.
Right. Yeah. Because with people you don't have the off on.
Yeah.
Are they off, man?
Depends.
Depends.
I'm not sure about depends.
But yeah, it was an interesting transition from a highly technical person, where you just have to interact with the machine with the off-on button, to person that, from a spectrum of youngsters coming through the college to some that near retirement. So you got a spectrum of different personalities, different people, and then we have 1,800 people in the factory.
So the point is, my beloved student yang saya sayangi lah. Dr. J nak bagi tahu, from J.M.I, back then, in 90s, in early 2000, after the millennium, ada laluan untuk pelajar-pelajar J.M.I ini belajar lebih tinggi, sama ada dalam negara ataupun luar negara. Di bawah ekosistem ini, pelajar-pelajar graduate J.M.I ini mempunyai lebih banyak kapasiti untuk menyambung pelajaran ataupun bekerja. Di J.M.I, you graduate from J.M.I, you get the technical experience from J.M.I, make yourself different from others. Itu memang forte J.M.I. Dr. James sendiri dah membuktikannya. Itu memang betul. Kamu nampak perbezaan itu ketika diimplant nanti. Dengan ekosistem MARA sekarang yang kita ada di Malaysia dan di bawah JPA Watson, graduan J.M.I ini punya lebih banyak peluang. Di J.M.I sendiri kita punya 3 laluan untuk belajar di Jerman. Coming soon, in September, kita akan ada lagi program bachelor yang akan dimulakan bersama universiti tempatan yang lain. Next year, we're going to have our homegrown punya program. InsyaAllah, kita doalah sama-sama. So kita boleh dapat the first 𝐆𝐌 from group program. This to tell you that 𝐆𝐌 is in the way to the success, to the master plan of 2025-2035. So let us kita doa banyak-banyak dan berusaha bersama-sama untuk ke arah yang lebih baik bagi 𝐆𝐌, ya Dr. Jendra. I believe you want to see 𝐆𝐌 as 𝐆𝐌 University College of Applied Science.
110%. I seen Tuan Haji shared with the IACs the plan for where 𝐆𝐌 is heading. It's amazing, guys, and I'm really happy for you all that you have this opportunity to be part of that journey, to set that standard, set that bar really high, and I'm very sure that you will achieve it. Very confident with Tuan Haji's leadership, and I can see the changes already. So God willing, things will come to fruition very soon. So you're all very blessed to be part of that journey.
Okay, you should proud of yourself. Give a clap to your hand. Our student. Baguslah pada 𝐆𝐌, jangan rasa susah hati. 𝐆𝐌 tempat yang bagus. Dr. James dah bagi tahu dah. 𝐆𝐌 tempat best. Baik untuk student, baik untuk staff juga. Saya kat sini dah almost, saya baru lagi 5 tahun. Saya baru kerja sini 5 tahun.
Tak percaya, tak dengar. Silence.
Okay, Dr. James. In early 2019, come to end of 2019, come to early 2020, COVID hit us. During that time, what is your position in Alcon?
I was already the GM.
You already the GM. I believe it's going to be some new challenges in the time. What is the most memorable challenges as a leader ketika tu menghadapi COVID yang out of nowhere? We have been alarmed somehow, but the way it hit us macam memang
ton of bricks.
So how as a leader during that time, facing that kind of challenges, a global pandemic, so how you handle that thing?
Okay, first and foremost, I have to thank God because without His guidance, I don't think so I could have handled that situation the way how we handled it, because it was terrible. I think I would say as a leader of the site, when you have that, at that time we had 1,700 people, we had 800 people in the hostel, and it was very daunting because you're hearing all the stories about people passing on due to COVID. And at that time, everything was new, right? Nobody knew what exactly to be done, and so you do what the best you think for the people, because you always keep the people's safety first and foremost. So that time, 2020, we managed to comply to all the government requirements. We also, because we are a medical device company, so the government gave us the exception to continue to run, but that time very limited capacity. We started off with 30%. 60%, but the long story short, from 2020, the whole of 2020 we did very well. We only had 11 people got infected because of all the procedures that we came up. We were very innovative. I was blessed with a team that we moved things pretty fast. We came up with our own system to do the track and trace. Semua lah, all the stuff yang kita dengar sekarang tak dengar lah, My Sejahtera apa semua salah, My Sejahtera what? But that time was critical, right? How the intensity of getting things done was like quadruple to get things done. So a lot of innovation came out of that. We did a lot of systems ourselves. We developed in-house. Tapi unfortunately, August of 2021, we lost 4 people in one weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Masih ingat hari dia.
Oh, this I will never forget. I think as a leader and you losing people under your watch is something I think I will never ever forget in my whole life. It was a terrible, bleak situation, but the blessing out of that was that people saw all the efforts that we took to ensure the safety of the people. People appreciate, because people complain kan, kenapa lah tak boleh makan dengan kawan-kawan, kena pakai semua PPE apa semua. But after that thing happened, they appreciate. That was the reason. We didn't want anyone to get hurt, and worse off, unfortunately, we lost 4 souls. It was a very bleak moment for the site and myself and my career, because that's one thing as a leader, you always want to look out for your people. Their wellness, their well-being is your first priority. And to lose 4 people that time, I couldn't accept it. Masa tu memang susah nak orang kata apa, menghadap hakikat dia, kata these 4 people have left us, and we have to face the family. One of the person that perished that time, she was from Indonesia. She was in a very remote area in Kalimantan. So for us to convey the message to the parents, we have to send the agent by flight, then by land to a certain point, and then they have to hike up 30 minutes of hike to go and tell the parents. You know what the parents said? He's stuck there. They accepted it, very gracefully. I was bawling. I said, wow, because we had a video call. I said, how can they just accept it? They lose a daughter who, coincidentally, because they passed away in August, and that she was about to get married in November. And they accepted.
Newlyweds, Newlyweds.
No, going to get married.
Oh, going to get married.
So that's why I said that whole episode was really bleak, but the blessing there is that people really appreciate what we were trying to do to keep people safe.
So your leadership was tested during that.
I think that was tested to the max, I would say. After that, nothing phases me now.
We have been at the
lowest
point in our nation, I think.
Yeah. And you can see, because after that, the bond of the people, we call it my Alcon, my family. That's our team in my company, where everybody, like family, literally like family. We look out for each other. We make sure the person is doing well. If you see someone's a bit down, you reach out. You don't wait to be asked. Reach out. So that ethos now is there, and that somehow was validated when we won the awards. Best places to work, because our survey was the highest in the world. At least in Malaysia.
Asia.
First in Malaysia, we got first in Malaysia, first in APAC, and number 5 in the world. It's the best company to work for. Thank you. But it came from a tragedy, right? It came from a tragedy that people had that sense of belonging. The bond is very strong after you go through that tragedy.
Okay. Everybody has faced that moment. Semua orang rasa zaman PKP, zaman MCOs. Everybody had their own experience on that. So do I. Okay, Mr. James, Dr. James. So now come back to your personal. You mentioned that you have interest in football.
Yes.
Are you still playing?
Still playing.
Football, futsal, or
both?
Okay, what position you are?
I used to be a striker, then defender. Sekarang where I can run only.
Okay. Alright. Okay, so for your information, J.M.I kita ada collaborate dengan VFL Wolfsburg.
Oh, right.
VFL Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg ni kalau dekat Bundesliga, para hadirin sekalian, dia di tangga ke-9. Sekarang dia tangga ke-9 dengan perlawanan berjumlah 22. Mata adalah 33 compared to Bayern. Bayern sekarang adalah the first one dengan mata 55 selepas 22 perlawanan. Nak bagi tahu, J.M.I ni, the team tu manage to get Wolfsburg collaborate with J.M.I.
Wow, that's really privilege. That time we kena pilih lagi.
So our CEO pun suka main bola. I believe today dia ada same philosophy as you lah. Anyway he can run the team. Okay, so that part of the what we call the social activity. Other than that, you also mentioned that semua orang tahu movie Terminator, Arnold susah nak eja. Okay, during the majalah Ujam, Arnold Schwarzenegger tu kita panggil Arnold susah nak eja lah. Simple, okay. In that Terminator 2, dia ada satu motor yang dia curi lah. That motor, anybody know what type of the motor? The motorcycle, anybody? Anybody to try to figure the motor yang Arnold bawa? The T2, Arnold tu T2, Terminator 2. Anybody can figure sudut ke belakang? Ke tak tengok Terminator? Oh, tak tengok ya?
Itu dah lagi. Show your age.
I have 5 years, baru lagi kerja, masih tengok Terminator. Okay, the motor that motorbike that ride by Arnold Schwarzenegger ketika itu adalah Harley Davidson. For your information, Dr. James ada interest, ada minat terhadap Harley Davidson tapi different scale. Please explain more, Dr.
So yeah, my interest Harley Davidson. I ride a Harley Sportster 48,200cc. Is
it Fat Boy?
Pardon? It's not Fat Boy. It's called a Sportster.
Sportster, okay.
Yeah. So it's more like a town bike. More that you go around. It's not like a cruiser. Because what Arnold was riding was a fat boy. You know, so that's my, hopefully like God willing, that's the next upgrade lah. Gonna start slow dulu. So my main interest actually is resto mod, cars.
Oh, the cars.
Yeah.
The Celica.
Toyota Celica, 1975. So I have a TA22, 1975, and a TA28, 1976 Toyota Celica.
I once owned KE20.
KE20, that one is the Corolla. So Celica, Celica platform, Corolla platform. So the Celica was like the baby Mustang, because I memang minat Mustang, but you can't afford a Mustang, right? So you only, the second best is something that looks like a Mustang. So the Celica was my choice, my dream car. But I don't restore it to its original. It's a resto mod, meaning the engine is new, everything is modern. Only the shell is classic.
Maintain the chassis.
Only the chassis.
I see. So you are currently as a hobby. So you have which model?
The TA22 and TA28.
Two models. How about Harley?
Harley I have one so far because kena orang rumah kena approve. Kalau tak approve tak boleh beli. So asking to that one negotiation.
Okay.
Ongoing negotiation.
Harley Bobbers, right?
Yeah, this is a Bobber.
The Bobbers one.
Right.
Okay, untuk pengetahuan hadirin sekalian, the Harley Davidson yang Bobbers ni dia macam, kalau Mercedes kita ada Mercedes yang biasa, and then we have the Q1, the AMG. Atas lagi kita ada Brabus. So yang Harley Davidson Bobbers ni, dia adalah Harley Davidson yang telah diubah. Contohnya dia remove dia punya fenders, the covers, and then dia punya kerusi pun sometimes ada spring, sometimes tak ada. It's a more, nak kata macam cafe racer.
Yeah, but cafe racer you have to slouch down.
Yeah,
so this one is more like you sitting on the couch.
Okay. Alright.
Untuk motor orang tua lah.
Okay, Dr. James. Yes. Back to the what we call the professional things. Artificial intelligence. The current things that what we call we need to embrace.
100%.
𝐆𝐿𝐈 has been given opportunity to do some research on the AI also. In 2024, I have presented a paper in UUM to discuss about the artificial intelligence among the students. From that findings, the findings from that paper, the research, is to look onto the students punya skills to embrace AI. The study found that Microsoft Excel mempunyai student-student ini mempunyai pengetahuan sebanyak 45% on Microsoft Excel, 19% on the programming, and 37% on the data analytics. Alcon, as from my previous visit, there is some initiative on the AI.
Yes.
So how the students can prepare themselves, all the staff and lecturers, to be a part of the industry that currently moving towards the AI. Please, Dr. James.
So, okay, to Dr. Hafiz mentioned about the application of the AI in the industry, particularly in our plant. So actually, we have both machine learning and AI. So we use machine learning, we develop in-house to do a prediction of our production. So because we have molding as part of the process, so you want to make sure that whatever you mold, and we use the mold to cast our lens, that whatever is casted in the front end of the process results in a good yield at the back end of the process. So you don't want to wait until that point after you find out at the later, after a few weeks, that you have a defective product. So we use machine learning to predict based on the mold dimensions, right? So how do we get this skill set inculcated within the factory? Because those days we don't have people graduate with AI. Like my research was on learning system. I apply reinforcement learning for control. So I had that basic about implementing neural network for industrial application. But to get more out of it, get more innovation, obviously you can't do it on your own. You have to build a team. So what we done was we collaborated with University of Malaya, with their team and our team internally.
University of Malaya?
Yeah, University of Malaya, to develop the platform for machine learning. that we can then equip our people with that skill set that they can start doing their own development.
From Pasir Gudang to KL.
KL. No, Kelang Patah actually, not Pasir Gudang, Kelang Patah.
Oh, branch Kelang Patah. Hub sana, education hub there.
So, I mean, the factory is actually not in Pasir Gudang.
So how the UN members
become first conference calls, WebEx, or most of the time they use Zoom calls because that's what they prefer. But anyway, they start from virtual collaboration research to physical face-to-face meets. So what we get our people as well, we have an upskilling program. We get them to learn Python or any other languages. So we send them to training institutes that offer this program with a project. So they have problem statements that they come with to that course, and they have to then, whatever they learn, they have to apply to that problem that they have as a project.
Does this problem, happen in the factory?
Yes. So it's very simple, from transactional, if they want to automate certain paper-based application that they have to transcribe information, to acquiring information from the machine.
There is one question here, Doctor.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Usually, the industry can look up for the SI instead of collaboration with the university or academics side. Why Alcon choose that this way? I mean, with the academic.
Yeah, I think maybe because from my own experience, right? I was from academia in that together the research with Seagate, and I saw the benefit and how we can leverage that at a lower cost, but still have a huge impact, right? As opposed to you go with SIs, usually the cost is extremely high,
but fast.
Yeah. But not necessarily fast. It depends on how you execute the project, right? So for myself, when I was working with Seagate, obviously Seagate is a manufacturing center, it's a cost center. So they want to ensure that they get projects done, implemented as soon as possible. So that's why I use that experience and my exposure in that kind of partnership, academia and industry, to bring that to Alcon. So we make sure that both stakeholders understand the expectation. It's time bound. We have to deliver at a certain timeline, and it worked out really well. And same thing. They felt appreciation of this type of collaboration because they now totally understand the expectation of the industry in terms of speed, right? So it worked out really well, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor, so to speak. It's working really well now. We reduced nearly half of our rejects already within a year of implementation. So those kind of approach is stemming from my own experience, my own exposure. So we have, we like to have that collaboration as well with GMI if possible.
Kita nak pitch it.
Boleh.
GMI boleh.
No, like I said, we are open to possibilities because I know GMI, the philosophy of GMI, right? So there's nothing stopping us from collaborating on different funds. Jigs and fixtures.
Yeah.
You have short-term projects. You have students coming to do their training, industrial training. The various ways that we can collaborate.
So that project is done by your team, your staff, and the GMI academic or student of academic or students?
Academic and students, and we have UTM as well, right? We work with them. Like for example, one of the projects that I'm personally as an industrial supervisor is using LED light source to cure the lenses that reduce the cycle time from 30 minutes to 10 minutes. So I work with the academics, the lecturers, they have master students, they have degree students as well that implement certain aspects of the project along the way. So again, once the expectation is clear in terms of speed, deliverables and all that, it worked really well. Touch wood, it continue to work well.
Still collaborate with them now?
Yeah.
Masih lagi.
We just got a grant of $500,000 with them from the government to work on the next generation of contact lens material.
Ya, I believe government sekarang dia nak tengok projek yang dah berada dah lepas POC.
Yes.
And then lepas pada proof of concept dan pada TRL 6 atau 7 to be enhanced. Dia no more TRL 1, 2, 3 fundamental, one way different.
Commercialized.
Yeah, ready for commercialization. In that sense, JMI based on Puan Haji Ahmad Solihin, beliau dah buat inisiatif dan bagi tahu pada kami bahawa our staff going to get the opportunity to be with the industry 1 to 5 years, betul tu aja, diberi peluang untuk bersama dengan industry to learn, and you think to contribute, to give them back, because all these things will come back to the student.
Correct.
Apa yang diberi daripada industri ini akan masuk dalam syllabus, kita boleh ubah syllabus kita untuk lebih baik dan brothers at par with the industry. This is the good initiative. Okay, Dr. James.
Yes.
Just a selingan. You mentioned that you love the 60s music.
Yes.
It's still until today. Still listen to 60s music.
All the genres.
All the genres, but the most?
You know, I think that you were asking me what's my favorite song or music. It was very difficult. You know, I'm not as musically inclined as Tuan Haji. Tuan Haji dulu dengar khabar macam rocker kan. I'm not musically inclined. I can't sing to save my life. I can't play an instrument to save my life. Memang, tapi I love music. You know, so I usually work on my cars or bike with the music in the background. So I dengar semua genre. So when growing up in the 70s, 80s and 90s, kat masa sekolah, dengar semua lagu.
Kalau zaman 𝐵𝐈 dulu, band apa paling suka?
Oh, Suci Dalam Debu.
Iklim. We have here before.
Dulu kita Mak Jiwang kan, lagu Mak Jiwang kata kan.
Okay. Dulu ada ke sikit, the wife of the guitarist work here.
Work here.
Dah pencen dah.
Dah pencen. Mungkin pasal tu lah.
Alright. Suci Dalam Debu tu sensational lah lagu tu. Sejati.
Semua lagu dah my era lah that time.
Yeah.
Tengok.
I don't know what sejati is, I just know sejati. Okay, Dr. James.
Tight jeans, rambut panjang. Itu masa tu lah.
Okay. Based on the contribution, we know that you are part of the UTM punya mentor program, contribute back to the academics. You have won some awards. Some of the awards was won based on pertandingan that I believe during Alcon Fund. Okay. Kenapa company dah ada own R&D, own staff, salary and likewise, masih lagi terlibat dalam pertandingan regardless human resource ke, innovation ke, why the company still look onto that activities? Pertandingan, bisa bertanding. Please, Dr. James.
Well, it's back to that philosophy I mentioned, right? You always look out to be better from yesterday. So how do you benchmark yourself on a certain standard? Because all competition is you're benchmarking against a certain standard. But if you're going to benchmark not just the standards but your peers that are doing the same stuff, then only know that are you doing the right thing? Are you progressing the right way? You have to benchmark in order for you to improve where you are today. Because if you're good today, it doesn't mean you're going to be good tomorrow, right? So that's why the continuous improvement philosophy compels us to get into this kind of competition. So like AKI, we won the Industry Forward for the nation. So top in Malaysia for bringing IR 4.0.
What was the competition about?
So AKI is a Anugerah Kecemerlangan Industry. So it's based on, we call it the Malaysian Business Excellence Framework. So you have to show that you're not only excelling in the business in terms of monetary gains, financial gains, you have to show the ecosystem in your workplace, that you have also workplace excellence, meaning how you treat people, your compensation and benefits, the environment, the facility, everything, every aspect of the business, how you run your business. So then they have various categories. So if leadership in technology, leadership in compensation and benefit, leadership in the work environment, work excellence. So we want the leadership in bringing forward IR 4.0 to the industry. Because like I said, there are a lot of initiatives that we actually created ourselves. The innovation is actually stemming from our own workforce. So we got recognized for that, to bring those kind of innovation. But all the other awards, the so-called contests or the competition, is similar in that nature. So if it's innovation, but most of the time I like my team to get involved in overall business excellence type of award. So AKI is one example, best places to work is one example, the MIHRM, that one's more about human resource policies, another example. So how do we ensure that our people benefits, well-being, welfare, our ESG commitments also is benchmarked against our peers. Are we as good as them or better? If they are better, what can we learn? So I use this platform for those reasons.
Okay. As an institution for the students, there's a lot of competitions, but the participation is It's quite moderate. How can you encourage these students, our beloved students, to be a part of the competition, national level, international level? What can you deliver to them? Why they have to participate in the competition? Innovation, R&D, robotics. How can you give them some words?
No problem. Like, for example, if you're a fresh graduate, how would the employer differentiate you from others? Obviously, they want to see something different, right? So if your involvement in this project, in this competition, you're already showing that that you are different because you managed to win the competition, or at least be considered to be competing on those competitions, and you get the exposure, right? So that kind of differentiates a candidate from a person that doesn't get involved in any of this competition to the ones that actually participate and win competition. Because you're showing that not only that you are good at where you are in the institute, but you're also good compared to other institutes, even in some cases other countries. Like my guys now, they go competition, 3 of them now are going to Japan for, they call it QCC, Quality Circle Group, Circle Committee, where they are benchmarked against other countries around the world to show what innovation or what improvement that they can bring to the floor. But they become very marketable now. Unfortunately, they are now being headhunted by other companies. So the analogy applies to the students. If the students get involved in this competition, you putting yourself, at a higher, so-called, I would say, high consideration for the industry to pick you. That differentiates you from a student that doesn't get involved in any of this competition. This is the advantage for yourself. Not only that you become, you stand out from the crowd, but you get the exposure whenever you join this kind of competition. So, those 2 reasons itself should be a compelling reason why you should participate in such competition. Because to differentiate yourself and apply what you have learned on those kind of settings.
Does the company or interviewers tu ada satu preference untuk this kind of activity?
Yes.
Ke kalau tengok robotik saja baru ada merits?
No.
Kalau yang lain tak ada?
No, because you know yourself, when you go for this competition, usually you are a team competition, right? And team dynamics, you're going to have that. You're going to have the opportunity to demonstrate collaboration, teamwork, leadership, right? The execution excellence. So all these, again, are skill sets that more and more that you get involved, you will hone, get better at. And that's how we differentiate candidates. When you come in, say 2 candidates from GMI, one has involvement in competition, and when you talk about qualification, they're so-called similar, not the same. But what differentiates these candidates is that because they took the effort to join the competition, so we know that this person probably has great teamwork ethics, has leadership, has execution excellence in terms of project management and so on. So that itself demonstrates this candidate is better than the other that doesn't have it.
Okay, so belajar masih lagi macam biasa, presentation and what not, and then part of the extra merits in the competitions. So the student can take this as a point. Di JMI ada banyak program-program persatuan, innovation, club robotics, dan banyak di club yang lain. So this is a merit for you later untuk pergi bekerja di luar sana. Kalau nak terus bekerja lepas habis graduates, lepas habis diploma, Dr. James dah bagi tahu participate dalam competition ada merit. So let yourself join our activity di bawah student affair. Join program-program ni supaya you punya resume tu nampak lebih kemas, right? You get extra merit from others. JMI memang dah extra merit dah. Kalau kita pergi interview daripada pengalaman saya dengan industri, dia cerita kalau ada graduan JMI, diploma JMI dalam bidang teknikal, diploma daripada tempat lain dalam bidang teknikal, katalah pointer kamu ni tak jauh beza, most all the time dia akan pick up student JMI. Itu reality dia. That's why JMI employability rate adalah about almost 100%. Sangat sukses. Bukanlah kita mengangkat JMI itu saja tidak. This is the industrial feedback. Okay,
I can second that.
Dr. James dah prove kan dah pun. Okay, Dr. James, back to the something formal. And the Asian magazine in February 2024, they mentioned that ASEAN workforce trend. Skill needed for any given job globally have changed by over 25%. since 2015. Maksudnya, the particular job is changing rapidly. Orang yang buat kerja sama hari ini sedang mengalami 25% perubahan dalam cipta kerja mereka. Macam di Jerman contohnya, orang yang pasang pintu pada kereta Audi adalah orang yang sama pasang pintu tu 20 tahun lalu. When we have opportunity to be there, kita nampak gambar dia ketika muda dan gambar dia sampai hari ini pasang pintu sahaja. Bukan nak kata dia tidak mahir pasang pintu, tapi nak bagi tahu kerja tu sangat dedicated sampai dia akan improve for the rest of his work ketika dia bekerja. Now, the ASEAN Magazine kata orang begini berhadapan dengan 25% perubahan cara kerja. Okay, this is because of the AI tool accelerating and take place. Does Alcon terkesan dengan keadaan ini? How Alcon tadi ada buat ranking of AI, but the workforce dalam Alcon sendiri dan the coming graduates yang berminat untuk kerja di Alcon, how these things become some influence?
It's a huge influence. Okay, so give you an example. Kalau all of you, if you're at least have an experience or heard, medical device is a regulated industry. We are audited by FDA from the US because our product goes into the US. So the records of every process is compiled. So up to 2 years ago, one product, one lot dari keluar, the paperwork is about this high, and we have to retain that for 7 years, that records. So if anything happen in the field, buka balik, cari anything there suspicious yang boleh relate back to that defect. So 2 years ago, we have gone to all electronic, so zero paperless. So can you imagine those operators yang lalu tulis sekarang, semua kena pakai laptop lah sekarang. So that's one good example. As recent as 2 years ago, the same person that was transcribing, yang tulis dalam form tu, sekarang semua pakai laptop, just key in or scan.
Operator level. Education
SPM or high school, depending on which country they come from. Right? So same job, but different method, right? Different approach.
Ni operator level. Higher level
is the same. So most of anything that has a manual intervention is going towards automation. So either you embrace it or you left behind. So like for example, those days the process engineers, for example, they want to do data analysis. They have to go to the Excel sheet from this station, pergi sana, compile everything, so clean up the data. So maybe 5 days just to compile data, don't talk about analysis yet. But now with the snap of the finger, you have everything in front of you. So you only can focus on the analytical part of it. So that's the difference. Same job scope, but at a faster rate, a more efficient rate. Because one thing AI does best is imitation. But AI can't create. They create.
You need to train them.
Yeah.
Train.
So who creates them?
Still us.
Yeah. So approach has changed. Ways of working has changed. But the change there is actually speed, efficiency, ease of doing things. That's where it changed. And AI should continue to help us in that way.
So does this mean that the students must keep up with the AI?
Must, they have to.
Because currently the AI on the public platform, the AI is about different AI that we are talking about. We are talking about the technological of AI, data analytics, optimizations, and then about the analysis. But for them, the AI is about the image, the photo that been used by AI, enhanced by AI.
Yeah.
That is the current situation. So what they need to do currently to embrace the AI at their part, or for their part, pada bahagian mereka? Adakah mereka perlu menghadiri kos-kos AI ataupun lebih banyak melihat material AI ataupun J.M.I currently in the middle to insert the AI in the syllabus. So from their own part as a student, apa yang dia boleh buat?
First and foremost to learn, right? I mean the application in some cases is so automated you don't even take effort to do it. Like sekarang kita beli yang phone, you can enhance your appearance just using the phone, but you're not learning You know, that one's good for Instagram, but not really necessary that you get your knowledge. Yeah? So you have to acquire the skill. Jangan takut kan. Benda baru memang you always have the fear, right? Benda baru. Don't just embrace it. You have to embrace it. It's mission critical that you embrace it. So take baby steps. So if you're not well versed with programming or coding, fine. Take something that teaches you the basic stuff first, and then you build on that. But the key thing is, you have to take an effort. Even for myself at this stage, I'm learning. Okay, everybody use Copilot. MSN, Copilot. Have you used the Copilot Studio? Ada tak?
Anybody? Copilot Studio?
Ada. You see now, even meeting minutes, you just from dictation, you can generate the minutes. Kan, tak payah ada sekretari tulis. Ada lagi tak sekretari yang tulis meeting minutes? Jangan malu, tak apa. Lepas ni pergi guna Copilot pula. So that's the right. If you don't learn, you're going to get left behind, because this advancement in AI is amazingly fast now. Amazing fast.
It's about fast times.
Super fast, and I think they're finding even ways, you know, like DeepSeek from China, that uses a lower powered processors to produce a much more in-depth response. So the advancements of AI is literally months, not years now. So unless you embrace it today, you're going to be left behind. So please, take it. If you're not doing it now, do it today. Do it today. As soon as you get out of this lecture hall, learn about AI if you haven't done so. Learn the basics and then start to apply. If you don't apply, you won't learn.
Because currently kita di dalam satu mitos yang tengah berlega-lega sekarang lah, mengatakan bahawa jika AI ni masuk, orang akan hilang pekerjaan. But from the research say, jika orang itu tidak embrace AI, these people going to be replaced by other people who have AI. Itu maksud dia sebenarnya. Bukannya hilang pekerjaan secara total. So that's why the 25% changes tadi by the ISM magazine tu bagi tahu yang we need to have some element of the AI in our pipeline lah. Macam basic knowledge, basic programming, it will help us to embrace this impact.
Because the engineers now, like for example, if you're doing CAD design with SolidWorks and you have a very intricate radius in a mechanism, AI can help you generate the point clouds, so that you don't have to do trial and error to find the resolution between the two lines. So those are tools that actually help you enhance your work, bukan replace. Macam Dr. Hafiz kata, it's not about replacing you. But if you do not embrace this, like you said, you will replace with the person that can or have embraced it. And that's the difference.
So Alcon, in this trending right now,
we are still in that journey, and like I said, because the changes is coming so rapidly, so fast, in a within short period of time, we have to continuously be abreast what's going on and equip our people with that knowledge. And the fastest way to do that is through projects and collaboration, the likes of GMI, where you have the advantage of having the, keeping abreast with technology, the teaching part of it, that then you can bring that back to the industry, that we can apply it in our work.
Okay. Dr. James, we are coming to the end of the session actually. Okay. Dah banyak yang kita bincangkan lah, daripada journey tadi, pengalaman belajar, kerja and what sort. During GMI moment, Dr. James, during belajar lah, because dia sentimental value. What is the most memorable punya moment lah, sama ada dalam kelas ke, dalam environment ke, ketika di JMI tu, yang you memang can make you laugh seorang-seorang lah. Tak nak jangan sedih-sedih, duduk seorang-seorang, gelak sendiri.
No, okay. I think there was many memorable moments because we were the first batch. Banyak yang dalam masuk dalam lab pun kosong lagi. Sekarang belajar modul ni, okay, this area saja yang penuh, yang modul yang advance semua tak ada lagi. But the one that there were a couple of memorable experiences there. One is that because that time we hardly had any girls in the course.
Still, sekarang dah okay sikit sebab ada computer convention punya. Dulu tak tahu.
So can you imagine for the what call it? Industrial electronic, we only had one girl, one lady. So she became the attention for obviously all the guys lah. Itu yang, tapi memang a bit funny lah, because everywhere she go, there be like 10 or 15 guys will be following, you know. Kalau TTO kata okay, group project, bila dia kata masuk, dia semua nak join sekali dengan dia. And that was the funny part. So really, that time 60 of us, industrial electronic only had that one lady, and PT for some reason had 3. So that's all.
Oh, PT, MED is more.
Tu I pun terkejut juga. Tak apa, that's one story. Then obviously during the belajar ni ada colourful characters in the class. So we have one guy, nickname is Arab. I think it's quite famous. I think most of the staff know him. Nama dia Isam. Isam kenal tak? Isam. We panggil him Arab because he's a descendant of father is Arabic descendant. So he is the clown of the class. So all the TTO semua mesti ada masalah dengan dia. No, always have a trouble with him. But he's super intelligent, but very playful. So whenever I recall those interactions that we had, and the other thing about this class is that I'm not sure it's still the case now, because we have people from ILP, from IKM,
pada CJL
masuk GMI dah kerja 5-6 tahun, datang balik belajar. So we have people from SPM, I think about 11 or 12 of us. Yang lain semua is coming from this group. So it was interesting interaction kan, yang budak-budak yang muda dengan this more experience, their expectation, mengapa rajin sangat ni, don't spoil the market, dia kata, those kind of things. So it was interesting. I mean, whatever I experienced in GMI stays with me until today. The good and the bad. There was one incident where I complain pasal TTO pun ada. Jangan marah TTO, the student ya.
We have the AI platform for that.
So I had to memang mentah kan. So I wasn't happy about a lecturer. The way how he was teaching. So when he complained, so kena masuk dalam masa tu hair start SACH, remember? No, I'm not sure whether you guys remember. Dr. Farul remember. So I got called in the office, and he said, "Who do you think you are as a student? Who do you think you are that you can complain about this? Do you know, I was complaining because the teaching wasn't that good." And I became very close to that TTO, by the way, after that fact. But at that point, he gave me a whole lecture why this TTO is good, because the training that they got, where they got exposed, 2.5 years being trained in Germany, in terms of how to deliver the course content and everything. So it was a humbling experience. So budak angkuh, very proud guy, young student, put in my place. That I remember, to be humble, to actually go and listen and inquire first before you go and just, shoot your mouth, start complaining about stuff.
What your favorite subject in JMI back then?
PLC programming.
PLC. Why?
Oh, ada tepukan lagi. Because like I said, as an engineer, you like to create stuff. So at that time, the PLC and actually C++ also gave us the opportunity to, you can automate it from drawings.
What is the equipment during that time? Is it conveyor? Or just a bar?
No, we had to build systems. So for our final year project, we had to do a bottling system, a mini for tablets bottling system, and a simulator for Siemens for wastewater treatment for a plant in Indonesia. So Siemens wanted us to build. So both projects we had to do PLC programming. One for simulation, the other one is to automate the whole process.
Group of 4.
A group of 4.
Is it work?
Pardon?
Is it work?
It worked.
Oh, okay.
Thankfully it worked.
Alright. Buat FYP di JMI ni para pelajar, dia sangat interesting. Sebagai pengajar, kita feel blessed. Sebagai student pun, you will feel blessed later bila keluar. Bila jumpa kawan-kawan daripada IPT lain, tengok FYP mereka, you will because you akan buat FYP yang sangat berbeza dengan IPT lain. So this FYP juga kita tailor supaya dapat accelerate the curve of learning bila dah kerja nanti. Kalau further study pula, you akan nampak macam mana FYP tu boleh digunakan sebagai you punya project during your final year in degree.
Correct.
Untuk buat automation, data analytics, Kalau ada rezeki belajar lagi sampai PhD, the same concept can be carried until PhD. Okay. Like I said before, we have come to the end, Dr. James. Again from 𝐵𝐈𝐈, kita ucapkan banyak terima kasih.
No.
Nak datang sini, spend masa dengan 𝐵𝐈𝐈, ada kerja di pejabat. You all said yesterday you was in KL, somewhere in KL, now kat sini pula. Thank you so much from us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I hope the student can take kata benefit lah, faedah daripada perbincangan ini. Because senang kita jumpa alumni daripada first batch, masih datang jumpa kita, contribute, become ISC members, masih lagi be a part of us, contribute. This is very interesting. Besok kamu dah graduate pun, kamu kalau buat macam ni pun sama. Kita contribute back to the institution. Dr. James, last word for the students, especially for the staff pun tak apa, about any nasihat ke, any advice to face the challenges of the future trends. The current trends is very dynamic, sangat cepat. Dulu kita kata the forecasting is about 5, 10, 15 years. Now it may be less. So what is your kata-kata semangat lah untuk kami di sini?
Kata-kata semangat But maybe I'll just share my own philosophy. There's three parts to this. The first one, as I mentioned, you have to have that mentality of trying to be better from yesterday. I'm always trying to learn, not successful all the time, unfortunately. So, but doesn't stop you from trying. And then the other two is a philosophy from great quotes that I got. One from my late father. He said, James, you always make time for what is important. And that's a fact of life. If anything that's important for you, personally, you always make time for it. So in this case, if it's important for you to be better from yesterday, to improve yourself, it's going to be a priority. And the third one is from Yoda, Master Yoda. I'm a Star Wars fan. Do or do not, there's no try. It's basically do it. If you fail, it's okay, because you will learn from it and you become better at it at the next time. So these are the three, I would say, for me personally, I use it as a philosophy in life, in career, in work, that stays true with me, because it is a fact, right? So the key one is continuously to be better from yesterday. Incremental is fine, but I would say try to go for a step change, because if you don't, the saying goes, if you're uncomfortable, you're definitely going to grow. You're too comfortable, you're not going to grow. So with that, I hope that makes sense in terms of how philosophy of life can be applied to become a better person.
Okay. Last question.
Sure.
Very quick one. Boleh jawab dengan cepat.
Okay.
Tak boleh jawab fikir-fikir, tak boleh. Boleh?
Ni takut ni.
Dia kena saja terus jawab.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay, try. Kita cubalah. Dia tak ada rehearsal, dia terus.
Kopi pun tak minum lagi, tak habis lagi. Yes, wait.
Which place you want to be at the moment? Which place of the country you want to be at this moment?
To be with my mother lah.
I see. So sweet. Okay. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, our Tuan Haji, the management, students and my fellow friends, kita dah sampai kepada penghujung bicara yang pertama. This is the very first talk 𝐵𝐈𝐈 buat first event, hasil pemikiran our CEO. Dia banyak fikir how kita nak tunjukkan 𝐵𝐈𝐈. This is one of the parts. Okay, so we have more series.
Any questions that they might have?
They might have, but is it now or later? Later, right? Okay.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have some research first.
Okay.
So we close by now. So ladies and again, saya bagi pihak komiti, bagi pihak Tuan Haji sendiri dan pihak pengurusan mengucapkan banyak terima kasih atas masa yang diberikan hari ini. Harap yang kita dapat ada benefit daripada Dr. James, dan kita ada beberapa siri lagi yang dalam kita punya schedule. We have banyak lagi siri yang ada lah kan, tapi tak tahu lah berapa. We going to have more. So hopefully you can stay with us. Datanglah support lagi untuk event yang akan datang. So from me and the committee, we like to wait. We want to adjourn, not lah finish, tapi kita untuk this bicara dah habis. So we going to have some entertainment, and after that is another ceremony. Again for us, Dr. James, thank you very much for having you here today.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you for the opportunity to give back to one of the best places that the experiences that I had as a student of GMI. So thank you so much.